Okay. Hello, everyone. We're here for our CYAN build video with Aline and special guests Courtney and Jason. We're going to demonstrate how one of these inner portions of a CYAN unit happens to be put together. And afterwards, we're going to do an experiment. So that'll be a second video that we do following this first one. All right, with us, we have Aline, who's going to be walking us through the process. So let me go ahead and pull up my portion of the parts list as well as the instructions. And you have the instructions there as well, Aline?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Okay, great. All right, and I believe, yeah, this requires very little assembly time. It's actually the last time we did one of these videos, it took about 15 minutes total, I think, to put it together. So, all right, let us know when you're ready.
Can you send me the link again of the video?
Sure. Yeah, it's in the chat message actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have that. It looks like you have everything there. Tubing should be there as well. We should also have the air pump there.
Okay.
And we can see that you have your box, the outer container, as well as the inner hummus container, the saver container. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Great.
I don't have a list though. I'm just gonna. Oh, you sent it here. Thank you.
Yes. Yep. And if we go down to, we can go ahead and get started on page, let's see, 10. That's the construction page.
Okay.
And just to let everyone know, the Sabre hummus container, any container is usable within this system as long as it creates a partition between the upper and lower halves, because the lower half is going to have water in it. The air pump is going to bubble air through the air stone, and then this air stone is going to, the bubbling creates humidity within the outer container. So this plastic container, okay, excellent. We have our air stone there as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah, feel free to jump in when I miss something.
Okay. No
Yeah.
worries, no worries. So can you move the camera down just a little bit more? Okay, great. Just like that. Okay, perfect.
So the first step is that you have to cut your pipe to 1 foot. I have already cut it, but when you get it, it's like longer. So you have to cut it first 1 foot. But if you don't have any measurements, just make sure that you cut it in a way that when you place it in the beaker, you have some other part left outside of the beaker. And then the next step, you get your hummus container, and then you have to make a hole here in the hummus container, just a small hole so that water can go through the hummus container. So I already made the hole, but it's easy. You can use a knife. I used a knife. I didn't have anything else to use. And then you place that hummus container in this beaker. And that's when you pour water inside the beaker and then the hummus container, right?
Yep. So that's and then there's also the so we've gone through a very condensed bit of instructions there, but that's essentially the process. Next thing is what? What do we do next, Aline?
I have water. Should I just
Yeah, let's go ahead and demonstrate adding that.
So I've got water in another beaker, so just gonna put it there.
And notice how it floats up because there's air inside the hummus container.
Yeah.
So we need to make it, put some water in the hummus container as well so that the water will, so that it will sink.
Yeah.
All right.
This is good, right?
Yep, that's good. and we're wanting to, basically the goal is to have a partition between the upper and lower house, so that effectively does it. That's our larger size hummus container. So there's two sizes of the container. I've been using the smaller size. This is the larger size, but there's still a good air pocket up above. So it still works quite well. And notice that the water level is below the lid. It's important that it's not above the lid, because if it is, then your material will get really wet when you add it. So I've actually, I've been varying my water level between that, and there's a little lip on the lid as well. That's actually a good, you don't want your water to be higher than that in general. So so I think that what you have there is reasonable for starters. So excellent. Awesome. So now we can do the air pump as well as the tubing.
Yeah.
You want to walk us through there?
You have your air stone, so you connect it to one end of the pipe, and then you connect the other end to the air pump. Let me show you. It's this.
And
So-
there's a little, yeah, little inlet port there for the air, or exit port.
It's here. Yeah, so you connect the other end of the pipe there. Yeah. And then you put your air stone between the two beakers, right?
Yep, between the outer container and the hummus container, yes. And just lay it kind of flat there at the bottom. That's pretty good there. And then there's one more thing which you don't have, but other people may have, and that's the lid. Do we have a lid for the top of the hummus container?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and add that. Or yeah, go ahead and add the lid, and then we'll close everything up.
No, I don't have the other additional lid. I just
Oh, you
have
don't?
hummus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and close it up then. The lid is for if you're putting in calcium hydroxide on a filter paper. That way you can remove it very easily from the hummus container. It's not, it'll keep the water from going into the container. So, so that looks good. And that is the inside of the unit. The rest of it, there's a fan. It involves cutting a hole to make the fan, two holes actually, to allow the fan to go through. But this is the reaction chamber of the unit. This is where the action takes place. The rest of the CYAN unit is just to let the air flow through, and also to get the to allow you to control the humidity and other things later on. There's some technology that will allow you to do that, a humidistat, but that's in version 2 of the CYAN. I'm actually playing around with that right now. But Aline, thank you so much. You have shown us what it looks like to set up your CYAN unit, the inner portion, and what's the next step that you're going to do before the experiment. Do you have a sense of what your plans are for the experiment?
Not really. Not really. But do you also want to talk about the use of the air stone? Because
yes, definitely. Yes. So do you want me to go over that, or did you have some things to say about the air stone?
No, please go over it.
Okay. So when you turn the pump on, go ahead and turn the pump on, and we'll see what happens to the inner. So you can see the bubbling now, and that bubbling, as it's occurring, it's releasing humidity into the air. And as time goes on, you'll be able to look at your filter paper, your coffee filter, and it will start changing. Well, it'll start getting wet around the edges. That wetness then propagates across your coffee filter from the side of the air stone all the way to the other side. And so you get basically like a gradient of humidification. Over time, you're going to get your calcium hydroxide will become wet, but not soaking wet. It will become like you'll notice that there will be cracks forming within the powder. And those cracks basically are areas where your calcium carbonate is forming. So you're actually, this air pump is introducing CO2 as well as humidity into the system. And you need both of those for calcium carbonate to be able to form. So if we had, basically the next step of the experiment is to put in some calcium hydroxide. We'll measure how much there will be. We usually do about 10 grams or so. It's an easy amount to put on the filter paper. But then we'll insert the coffee filter directly on top of the hummus container. And then once we do that, we'll wait for a certain amount of time. We've been waiting for about anywhere between 3 hours and 16 hours in general for basically for the filter paper to get wet enough that you can basically see that it's damp, but not so wet as to have your calcium hydroxide floating on the surface. And so that is, we first have to measure the 10 grams on the filter paper. So we measure the filter paper as well as the 10 grams of calcium hydroxide. And then after we're done, we let it dry. So we turn everything off, we let it dry. We remove the filter paper from the inner chamber here. And then over time, you can go ahead and turn it off to save some electricity now. But over time it will dry, and then you weigh it again. If there aren't any changes in weight for half an hour, I consider that dry. So that's, but I have found that after the course of like 10 days, if you wait, there's a little bit of an uptick in weight as well. So there is some residual humidity that it reacts within the material, and that allows you to get a little bit more CO2 uptake over time. So just because you wait half an hour and nothing happens doesn't mean it's fully dry, but for our purposes, we're considering it dry just as a matter of procedure. So any questions? No questions? Okay. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll get to the next part.
Sorry, I should have asked while you were.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So the question was, why 10 grams? Why not more or less? So 10 grams is enough to make a thin layer on the coffee filter. And we want to keep the layer thin so that we get good airflow. Remember, the powder is really fine, and it's not so fine as, you know, it releases a lot of powder into the air, but it's fine enough that it makes pores where the CO2 can circulate inside and form calcium carbonate. Now, if you have a lot of powder, that's going to impede your airflow. And so we can stick like a huge amount of powder on there, and it can be like 100 grams or so, but then you have this big mound, and it's going to take longer for the humidification to occur with that larger lump of calcium hydroxide. And why we aren't doing less, I found that, well, 10 grams helps to fill up that filter paper really well. So in order to do more, we actually have to increase the surface area. And so I have some tests ongoing right now where we're doing 100 grams of calcium hydroxide. And that is, I don't yet have the carbon dioxide uptake from that, because I was adjusting the humidity. They said 50 to 70% humidity was optimal. but I actually find that if the calcium hydroxide is a little more wet in general, that will help. So having the air at a high humidity is actually slower than the process that we're having inside of this chamber right now, where the humidity is actually a lot higher. It's almost condensing for the most part. But it's actually helping the weight increase to be more pronounced. So
And just a follow up, I live in New York and it's pretty humid here, like quite often. I'm just wondering how that might like affect my process here. I know at the beginning of the video you mentioned your lime bag and how you had left your lime bag open, and
yes,
if you live in
you'll
a
want to
humid
put it,
place.
yeah, put it in a closed container if you have a lot of humidity. That way you'll be able to see the greatest amount of weight increase in your experiments. If you don't have it in a closed container, then what can happen is over the course of a month or so, you'll get CO2 going into your bag, and then it's going to react and you'll get some calcium carbonate forming. So what that looks like is, we haven't done this test, but I had some pictures of the vinegar test that I showed. If you have calcium carbonate, your material will fizz, and it will, if it fizzes a little bit, you can hear it. If it fizzes a lot, you can actually see it. And so you don't want to have your calcium hydroxide be at a point where it's definitely visibly fizzing. That means that you're no longer capturing carbon, really. You're already, oh, look, Matt's available. Excellent. So yeah, definitely you want to put it into a closed container. Hi, Matt.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, we have just finished our build. It was so
Oh my goodness.
If only the sorbent tester were that fast.
Yeah, right. If only Violet were this fast.
Yes,
If only you could, yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
we finished the inner unit, same as what we did before, but of course there's the outer unit left, and Aline is going to, right after this call, jump into doing the experiment. So we're going to record that as well. So that'll be awesome.
Very
Aline,
cool.
excellent. What's your status on your hydrated line? Do you have that available?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. And do you have
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's all coming together. This is so cool. So Aline, do you have a coffee filter as well?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think we can go ahead and try out the experiment now while we're all on board, because that first part was so fast. Let's go ahead and move into stage 2.
Okay.
All right, so we have, tell us what you have there.
1 second.
Okay.
I do have to apologize. I can only hang out for a minute because I'm on childcare duty and I'm actually 4 minutes late for that. I'm supposed to take over.
No.
But I will.
Okay.
But I do want to see where we're at. And now I'm like, oh man, they're doing the experiment now. I gotta go.
We can do it later.
No. I mean,
That's
I
all
don't want you to
fine.
stall for me.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay, we have a little lid there. That lid is a little bit, there's not much room at the top. So
Let me find the lid first.
okay, awesome. Yeah, we're looking for a lid because when we put the filter paper on there, it's going to get wet. So so we need something to prevent the water that's bubbling up from going into the coffee filter. So we have our bag of hydrated lime there. That's the one that is over 90% pure calcium hydroxide. Of course, there's other pure ones that are higher purity, but there's food grade calcium hydroxide as well, but you don't want to eat it. You can use it for pickling and for generating like some food products with that. So we also have, let's see, looks like a scale there. And we have the inner workings of the CYAN unit to the left.
Oh my God.
We have a variety of lids, and they're all too big. Oh no.
Yeah, they're too big.
No. Might have to cut one down maybe a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
if you don't mind ruining it.
Oh, cutting down the lid?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have
I
a
mean, it just has to be
Blue one will cut
something.
easily enough.
yeah, something that you can just remove from
You have like a takeout lid. I feel like those are like, you know what I'm saying? Like the
oh
little
yeah.
plastic takeout things.
Hmm.
Should I try and cut this one and see if it works? Let me cut it.
Well, I feel
Good try.
bad. I'm destroying your other things.
Oh.
Oh no, no worries.
I like the fact that we're reusing material here, and we're not actually having to buy like every single plastic container that. Now there is, of course, the big CYAN unit. Well, big is a misnomer there, but the one with the fan and the outer box. That's a big plastic container as well, but. It helps to have these different chambers for different things occurring within the CYAN unit. Okay, excellent. Awesome. Is it fitting?
Kind of. Let me cut
Yeah,
it.
you might want to get it a little bit smaller because you still have to get the humidity to come up through the. So basically, if it fits within the hummus container perimeter, that will be fine.
Okay.
Great, and it should be it should have some spaces between the basically some it shouldn't be airtight, but there should be a maybe make it a round lid potentially just to fit on the top.
I have to go. Good luck,
Okay.
everybody.
All right,
Sorry.
thank you,
it's been
Matt.
longer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Take
Yeah,
care.
keep me posted.
Excellent. We will.
Bye.
That was great to have Matt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was he might appear, and he did, so that was pretty cool. Okay, so I think we are yeah, we're still revising the lid, and it's something that if you happen to have a plastic container laying around the house, you can definitely construct the pieces you need to do this. So you don't actually need to have the HDX quart container. You can just do like, okay, perfect. Look at that. You can use just a regular lid that you find around the house. So nice. I think we're there. All right, so the next step, we have this hydrated lime, and has it been opened yet? Have you opened it?
No.
Okay, so you'll need a pair of scissors, and remember there's going to be some dust when you initially open it. So you just want to stay clear of any dust that might be there. And you want to scoop it out with a spoon or so. So you have a scale there. You'll want to, when you get it open, we'll proceed to the next step.
Should she wear a mask or anything?
If you scoop it, you don't need to wear a mask. And if you're going to pour it, then yes, you do.
Okay, I'll scoop it.
Okay. So before you scoop anything, go ahead and turn on your scale, and then get a coffee filter and tear your scale so that you know. Well, first of all, measure the weight of the coffee filter, and then let us know what it is.
Let me get a notebook too. Right.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like she has a really nice scale there. There's a little portion. This is the one that actually measures out to a hundredth of a gram. So that way you can really pick up the fine adjustments that are made when you absorb carbon. So okay, so it's on, and then go ahead. Yeah, just weigh the coffee filter first.
Okay. So it's on, it's a 0, but okay.
Okay. And is there just one coffee filter there, or do you have multiple ones?
Should I use only one?
Yep, just one. You can use more than one, but if it'll just however many you feel comfortable with, but one is fine for our purposes.
It's 0.88.
0.88, okay, that's about right. That is we found them between 0.83 and 0.89, so 0.88 is what this one weighs. So go ahead and tear your coffee filter so that when you're on this, when it's there, you're also measuring 0. So it should be 0 now when it's teared.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, now you can scoop out 10 grams.
I'm trying to open the bag.
Oh no, try a pair of scissors.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, don't have your head in the bag, but just in case. We can't see where your head is, but for matters of safety, this bag contains calcium hydroxide, so you don't want to eat it, you don't want to rub it in your eyes. You can handle it with a spoon, but just keep your fingers away from the material. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how
And-
many grams do I need?
Just 10. So a small spoonful will probably get you to about 5 or so. And you can see from your scale how much we're at. And you don't have to get it to exactly 10, but if you're able to, that's always nice.
We're at 2.
Well, I know it's not possible for many people who live in apartments, but would this make sense more to do outside?
Yeah, it would.
Would
Yeah,
that be
unless the wind's blowing. So
okay.
if that's why we're doing it indoors now, but if the wind's blowing, then you'll get dust everywhere. So then you'll really need a mask, and which they're not hard to come by nowadays, really.
No.
So notice.
No, I was just thinking, because when I buy all this, I'm gonna have the kids help me.
Yeah. So you should do it outside if you can. It'll give you more space to work with. But if the wind's blowing, you'll all want to wear a mask. So
Right.
notice what Aline's doing. She's handling it with a spoon. She's not touching it. If you do touch it, it's fine as long as you don't have like really wet hands. And I've actually I've had calcium hydroxide. Well, you should not get it on you. That's a matter of principle for following any chemical experiment. So are we at about 10 grams?
Yeah, 10.00.
Excellent, awesome. Okay, so that's it. Let's go ahead and load it into the container.
Do you want me to reduce the water in the container, or?
Is it, I don't think you can reduce the water. I think the water is fine where it is. So it's not, if anything, you might find you have to add a little bit later, but as far as what you have now, it's perfectly good. So so go ahead and pick up your coffee filter and just sit it on top.
I don't think I can close. Wait.
You'll be able to close it because it will, there's a little bit of a lid, protrusion of the lid. So try to make it flat, like expand the, oh, let's see, I have a window. Okay. Oh, I haven't been following the chat. This is actually a really good chat here. Thank you. Let me know if there are any questions. Just go ahead and describe the question and we can get that answered. So, all right. So Aline, if you can flatten the coffee filter a little bit.
Like this.
Great. Okay, perfect. And yeah, go ahead and just flatten the edges and don't worry about touching the calcium hydroxide. If it's powdery, you can like wipe it off, but as a matter of you don't want to touch it. You want to limit how much you touch it for sure. Okay, great. So I think we're good. Let's go ahead and
Close
yeah.
it.
Don't handle it too much. I think it's if you make it flat, it will tend to pick up water more. But that's good right there. Yes. So see what this looks like. This is what you should be aiming for in your units as well. You should
Aline,
also
can you move the, yeah, thanks, perfect.
yes, excellent. So we're seeing this is what the powder looks like, and it's in a nice it's not lumpy. I think I see one little lump there, but that's okay. You can spread it out via spoon as well, just to, but if there are any lumps, you just want to break those up. And notice how powdery it is. So it's not so powdery as it goes up into the air, but it's powdery enough that you want to spread it out. Okay, perfect. I think that's good. Okay, so now we close the lid. And then we let it run. So once it starts running, yes, we have it. It is all in place. It is all in place.
Have to plug it.
Yep. So this runs on 1.5 watts of electricity. That air pump is 1.5 watts. So just for the record, we're using electricity to blow air into the system as well as to create the necessary humidity to make the calcium hydroxide turn to calcium carbonate. And this, you can get a weight increase that is on the order of about 5 times or 1/5 of the amount of material you put in. So we've had at most 2.1 grams for 10 grams of input material. And typically it's a little less than that. I think one time I had 2.1 grams and it might have been, that was a 3-hour run. So I might have still had some lingering water in there. But for the most part, it's definitely around 2, 1.8, somewhere around there. So that's what I've been seeing with these results over the course of 16 hours. So now that it's there, let's, can we turn it so that we can actually see the bubbles?
Do you see the bubbles?
Yeah, there they are, way at the bottom. And over time, the material, there we go. The coffee filter will start getting wet. And you want that to happen probably within like the first hour or two. You'll start to see like half of the coffee filter getting wet. That's totally fine and expected. So so it should be damp, and then that dampness will go the length of the coffee filter, and then it will consequently make the calcium hydroxide moist. So there we are.
What happens if you have like another coffee filter on top with another layer directly on it? Is there just not enough airflow? And also, I guess I was thinking, you know, those coffee filters that are like sleeves where you
Yeah,
fill it in, and then you could just stack a bunch of them on top of each other.
That's an idea. So so if you stack another, you can definitely put another layer on top, and that was what we're what I'm currently doing with the new CYAN version 2. We have, instead of doing layers of coffee filters, we have layers of basically like plastic dividers. And we can insert coffee filters at each level. That way you get a little bit of airflow above your coffee filter. If you stack them right on top of each other without any airflow, then that's like making a big lump of calcium hydroxide. That might not work as well to maximize the surface area. So what we're trying to do is make this carbonation happen as fast as possible. So in order to do that, we need well, reasonable temperature, room temperature, we've been doing this under. So humidity is important. CO2, as much as you can get in. The atmosphere is only 4.04% CO2. So you need to have good airflow over time. And then the other thing that to be on the lookout for is how wet your material gets. If it's really wet, then you're not absorbing as much as you can. You're still absorbing. It's just slower. So don't worry if your material gets soaking wet. It'll just take a longer amount of time to get that CO2 in there. But also, if you're totally dry after about 2 or 3 hours at the top, you'll want to increase your water level. And that's what I found. You want it. There's a trade-off between water level and how dry your material gets. So I think we're done here. Do we have any further questions before I stop the recording? Nope. Okay.